Glory to God. It is a really good day to be alive and be thankful, isn't it? Yeah. Quit messing with these things, right? Simple things. It's like, is that adjusted right? Look, I want to consider together with you, and I look forward to your comments and insights. But making tough decisions, life life is not easy, and the decisions we make are not always easy. So making tough decisions when life is not so easy, there are times, like I remember when my parents got older, there was tough decisions that had to be made. uh, how to take care of the parents because of circumstances, and they couldn't take care of themselves. And it was really my next oldest brother, the middle brother. I'm the youngest boy. The next oldest brother who really got in there. He actually, to take care of the family, he had to, or our parents, he had to leave his good job and company and go spend quite a long time getting circumstances and straightened out. And I'm sure if you've lived any length of time, you're not 12 years old or something, you have faced some tough decisions in your life. And there's a couple records in the word that we can consider on this. Actually, there's probably many records, but in all things we've got to look to God. So one of the things I know in my life, and maybe this has affected you or not, is because I've done missions and I hope to do more missions. David, good morning, morning. And David, you've been through these things, and many of you on this channel have been through these things. When you go on a mission or something, everybody sees you as like they're from America, they're rich, if anybody has money or whatever solutions, they have it. And so often people are like, morning, people will come to you and I, and yeah, Regina, right? We've got some years here to consider. People will come to you for needs, for things. Now, your priorities are God first, right? Always God first, the things of God, looking to God. Second would be family, right? The Bible says in Timothy, if one doesn't take care of their family, they have rejected the counsel of God. Now I understand if you have a family that's not godly, not walking with the things of God, and chooses to reject the truths you're sharing, well, then there's another thicker than blood, that our true family is our spiritual family. But this is kind of deep, and this is kind of hard for me to do. A couple of years ago, I'm going to say 3 years ago, I did a private group with a number of people. I did two things. We talked about giving to uh, people, and in different places and all. You and I, here's someone that says they have a need with the internet, right? They go, we are in great need. Well, we're all in need of trusting God, who said he will supply all our need. That's where it starts. But something I've set, and I set with people, I've wrote out a couple messages, and sometimes I still write a unique message. When someone wants to be my friend, and especially if they're wanting to do that and they're from another country. So if someone reaches out to me, they're from another country and they want to be my friend, like Facebook. Why do you want to be my friend? Is it for the fellowship? Is it for the growth? Is it for what we can share? And I think the Bible says, we know, but we know is probably better than we know that if many friends, you can come to ruin, right? It doesn't always work out so good. But I have to qualify people. Why do you want to be my friend, especially again in foreign countries? Because if you're coming thinking that I have money, I'm in America, I'm rich, and I can fix your needs, solve your problems, and whatnot, that is not the case. So if you're coming, reaching out to me, you need finances, you need immediate support, I may not be the right person. Sadly, there's two sides to what I'm going to share. The blessing is that when you go forth on a mission, or where missionaries in the past years, and many years have gone, they have given handouts, let's say. And some of you have known the story I've shared. Some of you may know there's a series on Netflix, I think it's still on there, where they weigh these things out. And what the people, the real leaders say in some of these countries that are wise, they say, we don't need a handout, we need a help out. Now, and there's probably a better word for that, but it'd be like, we need help starting businesses, starting farming. We need some basic training, understanding. So, one of the examples I gave, I remember in this movie, this actual show was that um, there was a guy or group or a family that started like an egg farm, raising chickens. And over a couple of years, they were able to build an egg selling business. They probably sold off chickens too, but eggs. So they would, in a good sized area, they were to help over time so people could have eggs. Well, some church in America got this big idea that we'll send, 100,000 eggs to Kenya or Uganda or that area, and surrounding at that time. So this church makes this commitment of sending all these eggs, and they offer, we're going to do this. We're going to take, oh my gosh. And eggs were free and easy. Here they are. Here they come. Well, after a year, this guy's little company that he was building, that was raising chickens and selling eggs at a fair market price and helping people out, he went out of business because Americans were giving a handout for free. And now the people were trusting in the free handout that will last forever, which they don't, do they? And what happened? So his business goes under. The church after that year decides we're no longer going to send eggs. We fulfilled what our heart was to do. And now there was a shortage of eggs and people couldn't get eggs. The stupidity of just giving handouts without expecting change or teaching or training people in this video, this movie, was really described. Teach them how to start manufacturing, maybe help them in a way that helps them manufacture. Again, farm. We need training in farming. We need training in how to do different things, because it's that fish story. Oh yeah, the fish story. The fish story. Yeah, some of you already know. You know, we know you can feed a person a fish for a day, but he may starve the rest of their days. You can teach a person how to fish, and they can feed themselves and their family for a lifetime. And Torah knows this. When I've had people, Torah just got on here, over in Kenya, when I've asked him once or twice, can you go over to this area and see what's going on? Because they're telling there's a great need, financial need, send money. And so what do I got to do? I got to send a little bit of money so my brother can go and check out what's going on. And what we have found out, sometimes we find it's genuine. There's a genuine need there. But other times, sadly, we find out they're doing okay. The people are okay, and they just want us to send money because they've gotten the habit. Well, ask 100 Americans to take care of your need, and if 4 or 5, you just keep being a beggar and telling them you're out of food, you're out of this, you're out of it, somebody will be gullible and keep sending money. So you and I have to make this godly decisions, and we need godly wisdom and insight. When Jesus Christ chose his 12 apostles, What a tough decision. Anyway, he's Jesus. He just goes out and chooses 12 apostles. Actually, the word gives us insight into some of the difficulty of Jesus Christ picking 12 disciples or 12 apostles. Can you imagine picking, choosing, picking, choosing 12 leaders that are going to be world leaders in a sense that are going to bring change and choosing because, well, they have this certain degree, well, they've got all this training and ability. Well, they've done it before, and Jesus Christ chose none. Nobody like that. He just chose simple, common people. He chose. But here's the key it says he spent the night in prayer. How many nights for a tough decision in your life or mine have you spent the night in prayer seeking God's will on the matter so that you can make a wise decision, not informed by the world, but with true insight. And that's like I said, when I would go to Torah and he would go check out things, and sometimes we would find out it was false information. It was not real. There was a man named Uncle Harry that some of you would know. And whenever he was asked to give to groups or to ministries, he would not give to that group till he went and inspected and looked and see what was really going on. Because there's, you and I know there's too many shysters or whatever. And sadly, even in ministry, because we've allowed it to happen, and we haven't taken the oversight and the responsibility. And let's take this example of Jesus choosing his 12 apostles, spent the time in prayer. We make poor decisions as far as our support, giving, helping one another. There's a lady in a small group of ours that is taking care of her mom. They decided her mom could no longer live on her own. They're bringing her mom in, and now she's not eating. She has fallen and had an injury. There's other things going on with her thinking processes, and it's a tough time. They now that the mom has been there a little while, they really can't take care of her, and the only place to go is to really seek God. What do we need to do? Because what we're doing now is not working. So, like Jesus choosing his 12 apostles, prayer is a big key in making our decisions. And I will tell you, one of the standards I have, especially when it comes to giving, when people reach out to me, hey, how you doing? Hey, man of God, we love you. We thank God for you. And the first thing they ask for, really, when they get down to it, is they ask for money. I'm sorry, I don't work with I usually will cut them off. And I know a ministry, a moderate ministry that if the first thing that you ask for is money, they don't even mess with it. And I will give people you often I will give them two or three opportunities. I think Titus says when you've preached the word to someone or you've spoken to someone, you should give them at least two opportunities to hear and move on. T.L. Osborne used to say, I have a respect for his ministry and many other ministries, but what he would do when he was here is that he said, these people in a little different perspective, but along the same lines of our subject, he would say there are people that in other countries have never heard the gospel. There are probably people in America like that, never heard about Jesus Christ. Why should someone in America hear about Jesus Christ for the fifth time when someone over here has not even ever heard of Jesus Christ? See value in that, right? I know I see value. Look, when you've told someone 5 times, you think you've told them enough, and if they're rejecting it, it's time to go find someone else that maybe has never heard or maybe has only heard once. Yes, I think so. And for those of you that have gone on missions or have a desire to, that's something you see is that this is true. And the other side of that is when they have heard, maybe all they've seen is evangelist calling them to the Lord, but they've had no sound teaching. So I know in my heart, we need leaders in other countries that can look into situations so we know what's going on. Let me give you another one. So you're faced with tough decisions and you ask God for wisdom what to do, what's right. You follow his prompting, not your feelings. Well, I feel I should give. They're begging me to give. I have in just the last week or so, 2 weeks, week for sure, I've had people reaching out and I hear all kinds of wild stories. They could be true. You know, one is my brother was killed. They shot him. They killed him. Brother, we're hurting. We need some food, whatever. It is very possible with what they're sending me, this is true. But it's very possible they're using that to tug on the emotions and heartstrings, which we do have. I know, I got some of them working, and you want to help, but you don't want to help them live in deceit if that's the case. And how do I deal with that? Well, one of the first things we must do is prayer. And if people come to you begging, tell you must help us, woman of God, man of God, you are mighty. God has blessed you. You must have $10 you can send us. Well, that doesn't mean looking for my glasses and they're on my head, on my eyes, in fact, not on my head. So you can have these people that are, and they're just going to beg because they've learned that if they go to people and beg, and they will give a new story every day. Boy, I had one the other day. They said, can you send 15 or $20? And you know what? I had already cut this person off twice, but my heart is to help them. So you know what? I sent $20. Yeah. And know what happened? Within 2 days, they got a hold of me. So I'd sent them $20, right? Over to Africa in this case. And because you want to help, you want to have a heart. Well, within 2 days, they get a hold of me and say, oh my gosh, there's a ministry that's going to give us $10,000. This ministry is going to give them $10,000. And we want to sow into your ministry. We want to give you $1,000 of that. So we've just got to go up there and get the money. But there was a catch. I had to send a little sum of money to pay for the transportation all so they could go up there. I'm telling you, it's a scam. It's a trap because, well, what's going to happen? No, they're not going to go get the money. They're just going to go, hey, things didn't work out. Can you send some more money? So we have this case of Jesus Christ when, making tough decisions that he prayed. And it says that great is our Lord, abundant in power. His understanding is beyond measure. If his understanding is beyond measure and you're his child and he withholds no good thing from you, no good thing from them that love him, then will he withhold the good of the information you need? But we need to seek him. Remember, Jesus Christ always sought the Father's will. It doesn't say he always had instant insight into everything. You won't read that in scripture. Jesus was so amazing, which he was amazing and is amazing, that he had instant insight into everything. No, he had to seek the Father's will. And he said, I always seek the Father's will. But you, O Lord, are merciful and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in steadfast love and faithfulness. He will be faithful to reveal to us what we need to know if we'll look to him. Psalm 86:15. One more. For whenever our heart condemns us, God is greater than our heart, and he knows everything. We don't know what to do. 1 John 3:20, 3 verse 20. But he knows, and so we got to get beyond because here's the thing. People will put you in a trap that you must help. There's a situation I know where a family was pretty well to do. They were well off, and we're talking about tough decisions when going through these life things are not easy. It's not easy to make decisions, know what's best and right thing to do. So this family that's fairly well off understands someone in this other family has passed on and they received quite an inheritance. So immediately they call and write letters. We are in such dire straits here. We need your help. Can you send so many thousands of dollars to help us? And it tugged on that person's heartstrings, and they did it when the family did not even have the need. It was like the story of the sheep. Remember the sheep with Nathan, David? The Nathan the prophet comes to David and says to David, he goes, let me tell you a little story, because if you came to the king and you messed with him, he could have your head off, right? Yeah. Yeah, the king could say, done with you. So he comes with a story about this person that has all these sheep and they're abundant. And there's a neighbor that has one lamb, one little lamb. And the person who's abundant does not take from his sheep, take one lamb and serve the guest. He goes from the neighbors, like, I'm king, I'm in charge. I'm taking your one little lamb and I'm going to feed this guy. Well, it was David giving from word of knowledge, because it was from Nathan by word of knowledge, word of wisdom, given insight from God and what to do in this situation with David and what to tell him, because he goes, you're the man. Had to do with Bathsheba and wasn't her husband Uriah. He has this godly man put to death for his own jealous purposes. Yet we know David was a man after his own heart. It took time. It wasn't right away. It's like maybe a year later, he finally repented of that and he straightened things out. But he was worthy of death for that. How about David? Was this that decision where he had it? God gave him, you have three choices of what you did, and your sin has consequences. And was it 17,000 people that day died because of his decision? So we need to yield and listen to God. And we need to realize our loyalty is to our circle, if you have a close knit community of believers, and then maybe a little larger circle, and then there's that outer circle of people. And we need to be like, I talked about the guy, Uncle Harry. We need to be willing to go find out, spend a little time or money and find out what's really going on and if it's a true need. And so part of that is what I said with the 12 apostles, Jesus choosing them, prayer. Now, the second one, seeking advice from godly people. Don't seek advice from the unbeliever, just your neighbor. Oh, hey, I'm scratching my head, what do you think about this situation? You're going to get all kinds of stuff. Yeah, we need to be spirit led, not emotion driven. Thank you for inspiring us with that. Good morning, Timothy, Brenda, and Darla, everyone. Yeah, all of you amazing people. You are the amazing people. I just get to be, I don't know what I get to be, but it's a blessing to be here with you, and your lives are a blessing to me. So in the story of Rehoboam, Solomon, if you'll remember, when I did, I think I've mentioned at least a couple times, 2 times, 3 times, when I have done these Journey to Israel trips, the pilgrimage to Israel, which I'm going to do more. I'm just going to have to go get an iPad. That's always, I can't do it on this phone stuff. Just doesn't work for me. So yeah, I got to pull that back up. I want that. I can't interface my pictures and everything I want to do with this easily. It just takes twice the effort. But anyway, some of you know the story of what happened with that, because I talked about it a while back, a few weeks back, a month ago. So after King Solomon's death, Rehoboam is put in charge. He becomes king of Israel. And Solomon had been putting heavy tax burdens and heavy labor on the people. Remember, I said, here's the key. I think I used the term, he used forced labor. It wasn't just hard labor, it was forced labor to build some of these places. Solomon put a pretty heavy burden on the people later in the years. And so what happens with Rehoboam? He has to make a decision. And there is some tough things happening out there, difficult decisions to make. And so Rehoboam goes to the old wise men that have known of Saul, had worked with Solomon and different things. And they gave him the wisdom of do not lay a heavier burden than Solomon has already laid on the people. In fact, to speak kindly to them, to work with them, to help them. This is the wisdom that they give. And you can look at that record and I'm going to have it in a second, I think. Yeah, 1 Kings 12. You can find that record in 1 Kings 12. So Rehoboam does not like the idea of let's treat these people kindly, let's show them grace and mercy, and let's show them goodness, which would have done so much to unite the kingdom and all. What does he do? He goes to the immature youth, who aren't looking to God, aren't trusting God, don't know of the wisdom that has been passed down. They just got, well, whatever. Let's make another video that talks crap about something. So Rehoboam decides to ignore the wise counsel of the elders and instead listen to the immature ideas, the notions of his peers, and it cost him dearly. It cost him dearly. So this is our second point, that you need to get wise counsel, godly counsel for the situations you deal with. And in the context of giving, just because someone reaches out to you and says they have need, they're in tough times, look, that doesn't mean it isn't tough everywhere. I know many of you, you're here in America and you are having tough times physically, maybe financially, maybe in other things, need healing, whatever. So we need to consult wise people, right? And maybe not just one, maybe a few, but let's start with prayer. Spend the time in prayer seeking God, and let's consult with people who are wise. Who are godly, wise people that you can talk about a decision and you can meet with them today? I know in our book group, all kinds of things come in at times, and we talk about tough things. And this one lady who's facing the situation with her mom, it's a tough decision, but no decision won't work, right? You can delay a decision, but that doesn't make it that doesn't solve the thing. We've got to make those tough decisions. Abraham and Isaac. God promised Abraham he would have a son. And we read Romans 4 about the faith of Abraham. He grew strong in faith, believing, giving glory to God, all this and that. But Abraham did not start out that way. Abraham started out weak in believing. No, he was this powerful believer. No. Why? They go to, he talks with his wife and they go to Hagar, a maid servant. Well, let's have Hagar have that child. And who'd she have? She has Ishmael, a lineage of more unbelievers than believers, right? It's still causing trouble today, that whole line of decision. So he made decisions that were, how can I get God's hand to move by helping God's hand move? He doesn't need your help getting done what he needs done. He needs your trust, your confidence, your believing, trust, that faith in him. It'll do what he says. That's what he says. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Doesn't say trust in everything men are telling you with all your heart. Oh, but they want to, and they will use, here's the key to a key to this. People will use emotional blackmail to get what they want from you. And once they've trapped you, I tell you, they've got the best welfare system built around you, because what they gave once, you know what? We got them once. They'll help us again. They may have genuine need, but just the handout doesn't help them. Remember the story of the eggs I told earlier? Yeah. So what happens is ministries go into these countries where they're hurting, and they'll help for a year or something, and then they leave, and it destroys companies that are fledgling companies that are building. So they're starting something, and they're hiring people, they're paying them, they're providing a product service at a very low cost in their country to the people. But a company comes in, gives a handout, and it destroys the company. It doesn't build it. And that video on Amazon, I wish I could remember it, the title of it, but it shows and reveals that so well, that we have done more damage to country by just handouts instead of sending. It would have cost less to send a team or teams of people to go in there and train them how to start a business, how to do, how to do the land, help with projects and ideas, how to start building that business, whatever it may be. Remember, which is better? Feed the man the fish or show them how to fish? We need to be ones who show people how. And I tell you, that wisdom will go on for generations. Not doing that, we lie in the trap of giving people handouts. And so we are keeping people as beggars while they also are blinding us with blackmail. And you can't know everyone, but we're giving insights. Spend time in prayer, seek godly advice. So God worked with Abraham how much nothing was impossible. Abraham finally came around and saw nothing was impossible. And even in Abraham, that thing where God said sacrifice his son. I don't know all the details. I can't explain it all. I've heard it taught different ways. But the real truth was that God showed him that he would provide the sacrifice, right? So God gives us, we have opportunities in life to see how, I'm not saying God tests us. People will say, well, God tests you. It's like this. When you're going through the desert, like the children of Israel are wandering through, they're going to the promised land, but they're in deserted places. There is no Wendy's there. There's no Chick-fil-A out there. So God isn't testing you whether you're hungry. God isn't going, oh yeah, it's working. God, there's just no food places out there, right? So, but we have opportunities in life, which they had, to see whether they would trust him. It wasn't, he was trying to put the test on them. It was just they were in situations of life that there are. So facing tough decisions, we have opportunities, not necessarily that God I'm just going to dump some opportunities on, see how tough I can make it for them. No, we just have those opportunities and challenges and difficulties in life. And these are opportunities to go to God, to seek God, to pray, and to seek godly counsel. When we're facing tough decisions, the best verse for this is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Believe on him with your whole heart. Have confidence in him with your whole heart. Lean not, trust not, lean not in your own understanding in all your ways. In this version, submit to him and he will make your paths straight. Okay? So just because someone comes to you with a need doesn't mean you're supposed to give them a handout. Right? I remember the guy here locally years ago before I was doing missions and all. Some guy, I was next to a Kentucky Fried Chicken. I had a window cleaning company and I was cleaning the windows, and this guy needed $5. I need $5 to get some food. What are you going to do? Here, ask them to mop their floors, clean their bathrooms. I gave him $5. He actually went through the building, inside the building, out the other side, and went down to the liquor store. I did it with the integrity of my heart, but it's like, oh, okay. So people are going to come to you, especially for money, to deceive them. You and I have needs. I could list needs. Have you ever heard me we have this need, we have this need, we have this need. I said something earlier, but it's not like, it's not who I am. I'm going to pray. I'm going to seek godly help. I'm going to go to God and I'm going to trust him with all his heart. And the one who said he will supply all my need, your need, I'm going to trust that he will do that. So I never will need to beg. I'm never going to need to ask. I'm not going to say asking is always wrong either. But asking, and they keep repeating, when you see that, you've helped someone in one of these countries or something, and within a week or a day, they're back at your doorstep asking for more. you're not going to like this. You may not like this, but tell them you will pray with them. You will teach them how to trust God. But if they persist, you are going to block them because you and I are doing nothing to help them by giving the handout, accepting them, teaching them not to trust God, but to trust men and to continue being beggars. So I hope I've given you, again, what Darla said. I'm going to put that up right there. As she said a little bit ago, we need to be spirit led and not emotion. And we need to be plugged, as Timothy wrote, but I'm going to modify it, Timothy. We need to be plugged into God because the need is great, but you can't help them all. Look, Jesus went into with his apostles, early on, he's in a very small area ministering. Do you think there was great need in other parts of the world for healings, miracles, deliverance? There was. There was, and there is. He didn't go there. Paul, especially Paul and others too, they really expanded that and started reaching out and doing more. But God has godly men in all countries. Now, they may not be doing much or doing what they could be doing, but I would, I'm thinking like Torah. There's other people. I would rather be helping something that go, who will stand, who will teach and minister, and he'll teach them how to fish and not hand them the fish. Because I'm going to tell you, as you start handing out the fish, more and more people are going to hear about it, and more people are going to come wanting you to give them some fish. And I tell you, you will do them far more benefit. Maybe you feed them a fish one time and then you offer, I will teach you how to have success and move ahead. Because if you just have the handout, they're knocking at your door every day for that handout. Look, the government does the same thing. I've said this about welfare. I have a real solution for the welfare problem, and it will eliminate a lot of welfare. And it comes from the word, I think it's 2 Thessalonians 3:10. It says, if any would not work, neither should he eat. If you are able-bodied, I understand if someone can't work, but even that guy, Nick Vucek, with no arms and no legs, he goes out and he does like training and teaching and amazing stuff, right? But I don't know where I want to go with this, but I think you get it. You get the idea. Teach someone, lead them, show them how they can be a blessing and how God can meet their need. And you will do much more for generations to come than the one person that come and is begging for just a handout. I never want to be there. I want to trust God. I want to seek wise people, and I want to hear his voice and do what he has declared we should do. And so, when making tough decisions in life, I hope there's a little wisdom in here that will help you make those tough decisions so that you can, like, your life can be fruitful and you can be a blessing to many more, and that we don't increase the welfare system and the beggars, but that's where I was at, but that we, if any can work, but they refuse to work, they are getting no handout from me because all I do is increase the beggars and I'm not increasing the godly upon the earth. Have a wonderful, glorious week.